Warning. The following may contain concepts, ideas, and/or reflections unique in nature and not yet approved by government and/or corporate entities. This content is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended to stimulate further reflection or to perpetuate additional discourse beyond the scope already outlined by institutional
All right,
curriculum.
give me a test.
Test.
Ooh. All right.
I don't mean to be too testy here.
All right. Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about media and its effect on brain development. Cue the intro. All right, so I think there's been a lot of different people have come out and talked about, you know, the effects of like video games or, you know, different things like that, and whether, you know, being exposed to large amounts of violence could have its effect. Now, I'm going to go a little bit outside of just even video games and go even further. I think that it'd be a crazy notion to say that we're not being affected by what we put into our brains. In the same way that if a kid is exposing himself to classical music, that's not going to have an effect on his development. In some studies, they've even shown that like listening to classical music while the baby is still being formulated is something that will help brain development.
I think Socrates, one of those Greek philosophers, had this notion that you are the music that you listen to. So anybody listening to crappy music would become a crappy person.
Well, we're doomed then, because there's a lot of crap out there. Yeah, so I mean, you could kind of put these things together when, I don't know, you see people on their phones. What are they looking at on their phones? You go to the gym, you listen to the kind of music, 95% of it is utter dog shit, with 5% being mediocre dog shit. I
think you could easily use dog shit for fertilizer in a garden, but I don't think you could use that type of music for that type of purpose.
That type of music crap. I don't know where they're getting it from. But so here's the thing.
It's another one of his many accents.
One of the things that I've noticed about just especially even if you take a comment section, anything that is even remotely intellectual, most people will be commenting like, well, people are fairly inherently stupid, so they're not that smart, right? And
I don't know about that, Homer.
Oh, I think so. I don't see too many bright people out there. So you'll get this. You'll get these comments of people that just they assume universal stupidity. So the question I'm asking is, are people really stupid because it's something inherent, it's genetic, they just can't help themselves? Or is the environmental molding of people's minds, even from a young age, having a negative effect? And it kind of reminded me as well about when I was growing up, and I didn't really watch that much TV, but the type of shows that were starting to come out while I was getting a little bit older, and just the kind of like chaotic, demented vibe from most of these shows. So I'm talking like Ren and Skimpy, Ed and Eddie, Teletubbies, what else? Rugrats. It almost seemed like every single one had like, even just the drawing style looked ugly. Like we're trying to like implant in people's brains to appreciate this obtuse, angular, cartoonish, demented looking characters that either looked high or insane or maybe a little evil. But all of these things are, and some of these shows are like geared towards like really young kids. And it's at the point now where, I mean, I'm not even like fully aware of what kids are being subjected to, but all I know is that any of the shows that are like geared towards especially young kids are like unwatchable by adults, right? Which puts into question, why would you plop your child down and absorb something for hours on end that is like would make you want to drive a pile driver into the center of your skull if you had to sit and watch it for more than 15 minutes?
Because you got stuff you want to do, man. That's
right.
why.
But, you know, and you compare this to the older types of cartoons or novels or books. The line work was very artistic. It may have even been slightly on the simpler side, but it was still, all the line work was what would be, you know, the foundations of traditional art. Basically, preparing a young mind for a mature taste that would be like refined and sophisticated. Not a doodle that looks like almost like a child himself drew the thing. And I think the effect that that's going to have on the mind when you're surrounding yourself, I mean, it's like you got a bar, right? And so you want kids to be, you want them to be looking up at a bar and aspiring to it. You don't want the bar just right at their level and the most base aspect that like of their comprehension, so that they're not challenged at all. And I believe that if it's a negative influence, it has some demented aspect to it, you're going to be like, their brains are actually going to be developing in a making toxic connections, basically. So it's not going to serve them well later on in life.
You don't want what a child absorbs on a day-by-day basis looking like some sinister Halloween character.
Well, yeah. Now, like I was watching some like metal videos, just like Slipknot or whatever and stuff, and I was kind of thinking that we've gotten so used to like these kind of like commercialized versions of the human emotion. All this metal music, it's like violent foreplay. It's like the idea of anger or violence without any sort of drive or impetus pushing it anywhere, right? And I think that do soldiers watch war movies nonstop, right? People that actually do something tend to not really want to delve into the fantasy of it any longer.
So like let's say a guy who's into boxing actually does it, actually has fights, is not necessarily going to want to go to a bar and get himself into a scuffle because he knows
he's already doing the action.
He knows what that involves. It's the wannabes, the people that played this crap out in their head, watching UFC or something. That
hey, what are you looking at? You know.
Yeah, they want the bravado and the strut and the image, but you get into a real serious fight, and that'll probably be the last one you want to engage in.
Yeah, so I think that you can mold a generation of people into something that looks reprehensible or disgusting, but it's not an accident. It didn't happen just overnight because of just the way that society was naturally progressing or going into. Keep in mind that most TV shows, all these syndicated things, whether it's the music you're listening to, the programs that your kids are watching, or young adults, or even adults, all of this stuff is like engineered. You know, there's gatekeepers watching what you're going to be looking at, and they're the ones that are really picking. They're hand selecting. And so, in a sense, a question would be, if you had a family where they had 5 kids, and one of the kids was a drug addict loser, is that the fault of the parents?
I would say no.
Right. But if that same family had 5 loser kids that were all drug addicts, all losers,
I got an answer for that.
What would your answer be then?
Loser parent.
Loser parent. It's
Bad parent.
pretty easy logical deduction.
Bad.
So if you had a couple bad apples in society, or a couple people that just aren't that bright in society, that's kind of normal. But if you're talking about systemic, where this is widespread level of stupidity, people on their phones like drones, not doing anything, that's not the fault of the individual as much as it is the society that has orchestrated this event, making useless feeders or useless eaters, or
just simply wanting to get everyone hooked into this realm of phone use, cell use, internet, whatever they're doing, video game watching, or
be playing, but yeah,
watching crap news.
Yeah. Like the dumbed down childlike news. There's been a bombing, and that's bad. We don't like bombs. We don't.
Once again, don't say that.
We don't like
explosive devices.
Thing about terrorists is they're terrorizing. We got to bring democracy to the people. Okay? Do you follow? Because I know it's getting a little complicated, but
I'm with you, because
let's just try to break it down.
If I'm not with you, I'd be concerned that I'd be against you.
Let me just simplify it for you. We are good guys, okay? We're good, right? And now you got some people out there. They're evil doers.
Doers of
now
iniquity.
You might be confused now, so I'm going to just... They're evil doers. And that means that they're doers of evil, okay? So if you're following along now, you're doing pretty good, probably in the upper percentile of American education system. So you can see this even in politics of how presidential debates operated in the 1960s and how they operate now.
Well, you'd have to really pay attention to what's being said then, because there was a lot of content.
Yeah, they were actually talking about economic policies, not just like, it's going to be a deal, very good.
This is a guy. He's a great guy. He's a wonderful guy. You're going to like this guy.
Probably one
of the best guys I know in the whole world. I mean, apart from all the other guys I know. I don't know of anybody that's bad.
Was that Kim Jong-un that he was talking about? No. But I mean, it's not just him.
Nice to say about that,
it's not just him. Every one of these politicians from every corner of Congress to whatever look like they just got kicked in the head with a horse.
No. Let's be clear. I mean, as opposed to being muddy. I don't like mud.
Well, yeah, see, this is the thing. This is another thing about Obama. A lot of people say he's a great speaker. He had a consistent timbre, but he wasn't saying anything. He was running around in circles.
No, you learn about maybe 10 platitudes. How long does it take to learn a platitude that, maybe consists of 10, 15 words?
Thing about America is it's a place on this continent.
But you don't have to be American to be in America. I mean, you could take anybody from anywhere in the world, and in really short order, you make them America. I mean, you make them American.
I think if we can feed enough to one fat American, we can have everyone just live on his corpulent body. Anyways, that was
what was that?
That was I don't know, man. It's the media. The media has rotten my brain. That's what's happened. So no, I think that we have to really start being a little bit more discerning about what we're absorbing. And do we want the bar to be down here? You want just a bunch of four chord songs with some little bitch basically singing the exact same lines. Basically, we've made it so easy for AI generation of music because we have this formula that it's the exact same thing since the pop music of the early 90s, and it's the exact same fucking music. So it's it's so easy to just we've already been making this slop garbage just crammed in down people's throats.
with basically the same choreographers doing the same gyrating
Yeah.
around these same divas.
Yeah, maybe if you don't have time to actually educate your own kids, maybe you
Educate.
should really think about whether it's a good choice or not. And I know it's, everybody's got to be working because, you need 2 incomes now just to afford anything.
I think the
But-
falsity of this is that people think they're choosing for themselves, picking and choosing, but it's really the planners, the programmers that are really laying this out for you. They're conditioned you to grab for this and grab for that.
Well, yeah, like there's subtle things, but like even in some of these like readaptations, like Alice in Wonderland, like that redone. I mean, that Tim Burton one. I mean, really, like just it was like just this demented. It just there's a vibe that comes off of this new shit that is just it's like it's
You watch a lot of
deranged.
animated.
I mean, look at the Teletubbies. Like
they look like freaks.
you used to have like Mr. Rogers, where it's like you're associating you're having your kids associate with like, and not only was it associating with a real human, but typically most of the programs actually had some moral of like there was some higher thing that was teaching. Nowadays, this shit has like no purpose. It's like sounds, movement. You're teaching like the kids are learning nothing, and then we're surprised that they reach their like formative years and they're just like doom scrolling
Well, I think
nonstop
the
a bunch of
formative
crap.
years are the years in which their young minds are being formed.
Well, it depends. I mean, yeah.
That's just
but you
something
could
that-
say like everything is a formative year. I
Yeah,
mean, so like keep this in mind. Like the young brain is a sponge, right? It's going to soak up whatever. If you put a young kid in front of like a audiobook of War and Peace, no, he's not going to understand it. But that's the nature of the sponge. The sponge absorbs things that it doesn't necessarily understand. Look at language, right? If we said, well, we're going to design a language that babies could understand because, the English language is way too complex for a tiny, it just got born, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's just bombard it with noises that it will appreciate and understand.
Go.
It's going to learn nothing,
Gaga.
right? The whole point is kids should be challenged with adult themes in the sense not of what we think of adult themes, but themes that are things that they're not going to be able to wrap their head around today. But when they get older, they're going to comprehend how the world works, what is good in the world, and what is evil in a much more complicated way than some demented program designed by like social engineers and psychiatrists to create a worker with no brains, a worker / consumer. And so if you want your kid to become an automaton, by all means, just have them being bombarded with a bunch of corporate slop. Otherwise, maybe find what you actually think is inspiring and have your kid sit in front of that instead. Not to lecture, but I will come for you if you don't do this.
Is that it?
I think so. I think that's enough.
You don't have a degree in early child development, do you?
No, I'm not a sociopath. No, I mean, hey, I'm sure there's decent people out there, but it's we will, if we bombard ourselves with animalistic content, we will turn into animals. It's just the natural course of things. Most people are
Maybe
impressionable.
that's part of the agenda.
Yeah, you basically you create. Most people are disgusted with humanity. I know this is like a maybe a hard take for people to wrap their head around, but most people are revolted by not only humanity as far as how it exists, but how it looks. Everything about humanity is kind of revolting to the average person.
You think
that
that's
is a
maybe why
weird.
they struggle to get into a nice, posh, gated community?
Yeah, it's actually the driving force for wealth because if you can create a monstrous population, we'll call them a horde. The desire to make money is to escape that group, that hideous collective, that mediocre average population globular. You want to get the hell out of there. You want to get into your gated community. You want to get far away into your isolated little enclave, because the mass of humanity has been basically turned into this slop. They're fed slop and they turn into slop. And it's like the cattle prod on the back of your ass, trying to get you to get ambitious, make money, work for 60, maybe even 70 hours a week, because you want to get the hell out of this hellish community full of drugs and stupidity and, whatever else, right?
Well, I kind of think of maybe Rome in its golden years, which would be pre-empire.
Right.
When people walked around with togas, maybe went to a public bath, maybe philosophized a bit, popped some grapes in their mouth, and a little bit of wine.
Well, yeah. I mean, the Romans did have their fair share of hedonism, though, once they had too much success. But what they
I
didn't
think they
have,
imported them, though.
But
To some extent,
what they did, I think it was just wealth corrupting. Like, utter power can, corrupt utterly. But the thing is that they weren't. There was a separation between hedonistic senators and like the actual just Roman population. You didn't have people being indoctrinated with propaganda in Roman times, because they didn't have that like reach, right?
They were as pure as the driven snow.
Wow.
Anyways, I don't know how we got off on that, but
yeah, I think
there's an idea.
We'll just wrap it up.
There is a thought of what is an ideal society, an ideal system, and this isn't it.
No, and I mean, the first part is our population's been growing by leaps and bounds. Probably one of the most important things is that we have a somewhat educated or inspired population, rather than some listless horde of consumers. Because, I mean, I'm seeing this everywhere. You got to keep in mind, this isn't just like if you think it's an American problem or a Canadian problem, this is happening everywhere. Here in Nicaragua, I mean, it's the exact same narrative. The older generation talks about the crap that the younger generation is just always on their phone, just going from one bullshit like
when we're in the
10-second video to another.
I'd say at least 50% of those in the gym are on their phone, looking at what next exercise? I don't know. I've
don't
only
even
been
know if
here
it's
for
that.
6
Like
months.
I don't even think it's just it's ingrained in you to just
Or
be
they want
like
to take a selfie of themselves.
you're like a hog in a
They're
barn.
only about
and
200 pounds overweight, but they still. I did a little bit of exercise. I think it's time for me to look like prima donna. Click. No, I mean this is.
Yeah,
going
you're
on.
living in a digital world.
You don't really have a proper what is that, residual digital self-image of yourself, like a real honest one. You've got this. It's amazing how delusional people can be as to what do they really look like.
Yeah, I mean, but it all comes back
or
to
who
like,
they really are. I mean, because that's the outside, but what people think they are on the inside. I mean,
well, think about this.
if you're a composite of all your skills, your different disciplines in the things that you pick and choose, which is what really kind of essentially makes who you are.
Well, look at the difference between someone that picks up smoking as an adult and someone that picks it up when they're a kid, or like a 12 years old or 13 years old. Most people that pick up a habit when they're young, it's like they're going to be lifetime smokers, because they just, like, you know what I mean?
Well, it could be. I mean, you got to keep in mind that the planners or the social engineers have been making cigarette smoking extremely undesirable and
but then
highly restrictive.
Yeah, and it can change from one vice to another quite easily. But the point is that you're still, it's such a more of an uphill climb to untrain yourself. So when you're young, you're getting all of this shit basically implanted into you, whether you're cognizant of it or not. And that's kind of the point, is that there's a lot of stuff we have to be, this subtle influence that's happening is like way more important than we might think it is. And just something that is a stupid show or a bit of crap music or something like that doesn't seem like it's going to have like...
Turn it off. Have the will to say, I'm not going to accept this crap.
Yeah, and that's it's just like the internet. When you get like
else.
a bunch of shit on the internet, it's like, look it, if it's all shit, just shut it off. You know, you have to have the willpower eventually to be like, I'm not just going to watch like utter garbage just because there's nothing else to watch.
Anyways, I have a pretty good sense of time, and I would say that we've exceeded our quota.
We've wasted.
No, I think it was a good rambling.
Yeah. I think we were kind of just riffing.
Keep in
we
mind,
didn't have internet all day.
There's no script here. It's and it's a one take. So it's, if we don't have the thoughts, then we're empty heads.
No,
And
but
if we-
we are AI. That is completely being formulated by ChatGPT,
and so it's
Say goodbye to everybody out there. Bye bye.